Hey, Anthony here, and in this video I have gone through YouTube and I found a couple of different clips of people presenting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play them to you, and as I play them to you, I'm going to analyze them and tell you what does work and what doesn't work in each one of these presentations. So I know you're going to get a ton of value from this, so I'm going to disappear from here and play the videos to you. I'll speak to you in just a moment. So before we get into the videos, I want you to remember that when we met up in Noosa, the three components of an amazing speaker are confidence, energy, and contrast. So keep those three things in mind as you watch these first two clips, because both of these presenters, they clearly lack confidence, both in their voice and in their body. They don't bring any energy. They're not deliberate in how enthusiastic they are. And also there is no contrast. They're very monotone as they present. Now this first guy, he is a YouTuber. He's got a following of 10.6 million. So he is used to being on camera, but in this situation here, he was thrown into a live situation. So no chance of stopping and doing a retake. Everything that was happening live. It was there in the moment, and it showed in his body and also in his voice. So as I press play, listen to the voice, listen for the uncertainty, the use of filler words, but also look at what he does with his hands. He spends a lot of time pacifying with his hands. So I'll play the clip for you.
Talk about Need for Speed, Payback. If you guys didn't know, Need for Speed Payback,
So at that point there, he forgets what he's saying, and I can hear his breath start to get very shallow. So his breath gets a lot more shallow, which causes more anxiety because he's not breathing properly. Had he taken just one big deep breath at this point and breathed out, he might have been able to calm himself down a little bit at this point. He ends up in this sort of nervous sort of giggling, hands pacify even more. I'll keep the clip going just so you can enjoy watching somebody squirm on the screen.
Yeah, it's a great game. But all right, all set aside, I'm a YouTube creator, Need for Speed Payback, it's coming out. I got my boy Marcus, executive producer here. He is the producer of the game. Thank you, Nick, for having me.
You probably heard them right at the very end. He almost swallows his own words. Now, I have done a bit of digging here to find out exactly what happened. Rumor has it he had an auto cue or teleprompter that was feeding him the information. The script was different than what he was told, which completely threw him off. But this is something that can happen in an everyday situation. We can get caught off guard, and when we get caught off guard, we might end up showing these signs of uncertainty, these signs of lack of confidence. He was live, he didn't know how to react, and it quite clearly showed on camera. So let's get into the next clip of the next guy. Now, before we get into this next clip, remember that I said the 6 fundamentals of voice are clarity, speed, tone, pitch, volume, and the pause. This next presenter is really monotone, very low energy, and absolutely no contrast. No contrast in body language and also in voice. Also, listen to how he starts his presentation. He says, I'm Chris, and I'm going to tell you about cloud computing. It would have been the perfect chance to open either with stating a problem or by asking a question to the audience. So I'll play you the clip, and you can just revel in how bad this presentation is.
Hey man.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm going to tell you guys about cloud computing. This is...
Also notice the hand in the pocket. This is very, and almost bouncing around a little bit, sort of the nerves showing through in this wiggling side to side.
People have been starting to work on the idea of cloud computing for about 5 years now.
So lots of ums as well, using those filler words to fill in what is moments where he's thinking about what to say next. Now you'll notice that I've cut this video here. This guy talks for about 3.5 minutes, and those 3.5 minutes are painful. He does not change the way that he uses his voice at all. He keeps the exact same energy throughout the entire presentation, to the point where I had no idea what he was talking about. I completely switched off, and it almost caused me to fall asleep. And it's that bad, he actually caused himself to fall asleep. And let me show you what I mean. There he is, forgetting about what he's going to say. I'm boring, and here I go. Mic drop. So this is a good clip. Now you might be thinking, well, this is really unfair. We're comparing Will Smith to these other two guys. But I'm showing you this because this is how a story should be told. This is how a presentation should be done. He uses his voice. He uses all 6 elements of the voice. The message, it comes alive. He also links a story to the message that he's trying to convey. He embodies a story. He's very deliberate with his energy. You're going to see that he ends up standing up. He's totally confident in that story. Those 3 things: the confidence, the energy, and the contrast. Will Smith brings all 3 of those. I've put the entire story within this clip. I suggest you watch the whole thing. This is a perfect lesson in how to tell an amazing story. Hope you found this useful. Hope you got a lot of takeaways. I'm going to let Will Smith take over and take us out.
So, for me, the daily confrontation with fear has become a real practice for me since about three years ago. I went skydiving in Dubai, right? And skydiving is a really interesting confront with fear, right? So I gotta stand up. I'm sorry, I gotta stand up. All right. So all your friends, what happens? You go out. Oh, sorry. Oh, I dropped my thing. So what happens is you go out the night before and you take a drink with your friends, and somebody says, "Yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow." And you go, "Yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow." "Yeah, yeah." And you go, "Yeah." And everybody goes, "Yeah." Right? And you go home and you by yourself, you're like, Right? And you're like, well, I mean, they was drunk too. Right? So maybe they not, maybe, I mean, we don't have to go. We don't have to do it. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane, and you can't figure out why you would do that, right? And you're laying there and you have the worst night's sleep of your life, but you still have the hope that your friends were drunk, right? So you wake up the next day and you go, down and you say where you were going to meet, and everybody's there. You're like, oh, shit. All right, cool, right? So you get in the van and you don't know that your friends had the same night that you had because they're pretending like they didn't. They're like, "Yeah, man, my uncle's a Navy SEAL, and this is going to be great. I've been looking forward to this." And you're like, oh my God. And your stomach is terrible. You can't eat and everything, but you don't want to be the only punk who doesn't jump out of this airplane. So you get there, and then you have the safety brief. And you're standing there, and the guys will tell you, well, if the chute doesn't open, what's going to happen is you're doing, well, why the hell, what could happen? That the chute wouldn't open, right? So you do a thing, and what you do is your first jump, you're attached to a guy who is going, he's going to walk you out. So you go, and you get there, and there's an airplane, and nobody's stopping. Everybody's still going. So you get onto the airplane, and you're sitting there, and it's extra because you're sitting on some dude's lap, some stranger. You're sitting on his lap, and it's like, you trying to make small talk. Yeah, man. So you be jumping with people all the time, huh? Right? So, and then you just want to make sure, you got kids, right? You got people you need to see, right? You just want to make sure he's serious, right? So you get in there. So everything's normal. So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet, and you notice there's a light. It's red and it's yellow and green, right? So right now the light's red. So then you start thinking at some point the light's going to go green, but you don't know what's going to happen, right? And you wait, and it goes yellow, and the light goes green, and somebody opens the door, and in that moment you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. Right? Terror. Oh, sorry, I'm spitting. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. No, terror. Right? So you go, and then, if you were smart, you sat in the back so you don't go first, right? And then people start going out of the airplane. And you go, and the guy walks you up to the end of the thing, and you're standing, and your toes are on the edge, and you're looking out down to death. And they say, on 3. And they say, 1, 2, and he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3, right? Right? And you go, and you fall out of the airplane, and in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying, right? It doesn't feel like falling, right? It's like you actually are kind of held a little bit by the wind, and then you start falling, and there's zero fear. You realize that the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. It's bliss. It's bliss. And you're flying. Right? And you're doing that. And then 20 seconds, 25 seconds, 40 seconds. And you have enough time to just kind of be like, oh, shit, that's that building. I saw like that one. Oh, you can see the ocean. Right? You start doing all of that. And the lesson for me was, why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for? Just don't go. Why are you scared in your bed 16 hours before you jump? Why are you scared in the car? Why could you not enjoy breakfast? What did you need that? The fear is fear of what? You're nowhere even near the airplane. Everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. It only just ruins your day. You don't have to jump. And then in that moment, all of a sudden, where you should be terrified is the most blissful experience of your life. And God placed the best things in life on the other side of terror. On the other side of your maximum fear are all of the best things in life. You know? Mm-hmm. So that was sorry. So that was,
no, it's good.
That was my experience with skydiving and fear.
All right.